Hey guys, Mr. Pettit. For your lesson for today, what I want you to do at the very top of the sheet that I'm going to hand to you or provide for you is 8 applications of parabolas. What I want you to do is do a little research on that. Find 8 things that are in real world applications, real world situations where you know where a parabola is located. So a parabola can look something like this, like that, or you can have a parabola also that is providing you something like this as well. Okay, so you can name a place, you can name a thing, you can name whatever you want, an object, whatever you think may be. Would be a place where 8 applications of parabolas may be located. Okay, on your graph, when you're looking at your graph here, the first thing you're going to see 3 little lines here. First one's going to be your vertex on graph A and graph B, and you'll see the arrow pointing to it, and you'll see the thing in this format as well. You'll see the graphs that you're looking at in this case. The second one in the middle you're going to see is going to be your y-intercept. So that is your y-intercept. That's where it's going to be located on the y-axis in that format. The last one is going to be our x-intercepts. And sometimes you can have x-intercepts or x-intercept. It could be 1, it could be 2, it may not be even 1. You may not even have an x-intercept in some of these cases. So in the 3 sections you're looking at, that's what you're looking at for your value. So the vertex is going to be your max value or your min value located on the parabola. And what you're going to see is if it's opening down, it's going to be a max. If it's opening up, it's going to be a min. Okay? All right. Looking at the definitions. The first thing you have is the vertex. The vertex, it talks about here, it says the highest or lowest that you're looking at. Okay? So these points that you're looking at on your graph. So when you're identifying on your graph A, if I'm looking at graph A, and here's B over here, graph A, I'm looking at that, it's probably like 3.5 is my X value, 3.5, and it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is my value at the top there. Okay? 3.5 and 6. For graph B, we're looking at 1 point, and it looks like it's 4 and 0 as my value. Okay, so 4 and 0. So 3.5 and 6 for the first graph for graph A, and graph B you're looking at as 4 and 0 as your values. Okay. All right. For the next section, we're looking at the max value. It occurs only if the parabola opens down. It is the biggest y value or optimal. You could have either one. It could be biggest, or optimal y value, and it's y value of the vertex. Okay? And so the max value of this one is only in graph A, because graph A has a max value, and here we're looking at our value of 6 as our value here. Okay? The next one is our min value. So our min value occurs only when the parabola opens up. So we talked about that as our min value, it's opening up. And here we have the smallest or minimal y value. In this case, we're looking at a value in graph A and graph B. Sorry, it'd be 0. So it's located at its lowest point in that format. Okay. So the next one is we're given the equation of an axis of symmetry. Here we're looking at a vertical line running through the vertex. So the vertex, running through the vertex. So when you're having a parabola, your axis of symmetry runs right through the vertex that you're looking at. Okay, and it's an x value. So the first one in graph A is going to be x equals 3.5, and in the other one, you're going to see it's running through at x equaling 4. Okay, so in the first one we're looking at is a max value. We can see that as our value here. We can see that was our number we saw. We saw it over here like this, and it went right through at 3.5. X equals 3.5 as my value there. Okay? All right. The next part we're looking at is the y-intercept, the point where the parabola crosses the y-axis. The y-axis. My markers are drying up here. The y-axis. So if you look at the y-axis on the first one, it's just above the 2. If you said 2, that's fine. That's all right. But if you're looking at a value that's a little bit better, you're probably looking at y equaling 2.2 on graph A, and on graph B, we're looking at the y value looking at like 3.5. Y equaling 3.5 as my value there. Okay? All right. And now the next one. For our next one here, we're looking at is y-intercepts the point or points where the parabola crosses the the x-axis. Here's where the x-axis is in place. And in this case, we've got 2 on the first one. We see -1 and 8 on graph A. On graph B, we're looking at the other one, and we can see it only hits once at 4. It hits the x-axis at 4 in this case. Okay? And the last part we're looking at here in our note that we're looking at is our zeros. Our zeros are the same as x-intercepts. X-intercepts is the word you want to use there, and that's what we're looking at as our values. It's also called roots. I've heard them called roots before, and again, they're -1 and 8 x-axis, where you cross the x-axis on graph A, and 4 on graph B. Okay? So what I'd like you to do is again, find those 8 applications of parabolas. That considers your note. And then on the very back, what I want you to do is I want you to practice those values, practice those graphs, identify those key points that you're looking at, refer back to the note that we just talked about, and we'll go from there. All right? We'll talk, maybe chat on Thursday. If you have any problems, let me know, and we'll go through that. All right? Stay safe, guys.